None of you have ever truly impressed me. Don't bother me again until there's real competition.
Guys, I'm not gonna lie, this is like the most hype intro I've had in a long time. Like, I don't know, I'm like hyped now. Like, the music, the intro, it's cooking. It's cooking for real. But today is going to be another brief episode, just kind of going over basics for playing the big role. I'm going to explain most of it in the following segments, so I don't need to ramble too much here, but just wanted to thank everybody for the recent support. It's kind of crazy, like, when I first started out, I assumed I'd get nobody watching, and yeah, people have been really supporting and being super nice and helpful, and yeah, I would really appreciate people continuing. If I get something wrong, like, obviously tell me. I'm really happy to address that in like future videos and stuff, so thank you again to everybody. It's been such a fun ride so far, and yeah, I hope I can continue to push out some decent content, so let's get into it. I'm just going to briefly show you what the positions look like as a big on both sides of this matchup for both dunker comp and a chucker comp. So let me just move this over quickly. I just did this, but it didn't save, so I will do it again, and this time it'll be even better, so that's totally fine. I'm not even upset. Okay, so let's just quickly go over. So say you're playing land here, right? There are only two real options for this comp and where you need to be. Either your Heron's going to be playing ISO, so he's going to be on this wing, and your Yasmin and you are going to be over here, or you're going to be playing with the Heron, and your Yasmin's going to be ISO with the enemy Becky. So let me just describe or display quickly what those two positions look like. So if Heron's playing ISO, he's going to be something like this. You're going to be over here, Lan, and Robbie has to respect and be on the same side as you. Because if he goes to the other side, let's say Robbie goes here, and they're double team Heron, great. Well, now you move here, she tries following, she gets screened, it's a free throw every time. So Robbie has to be there, or if for whatever reason, you know, they want to swap it and Robbie's going to 1v1 the Heron, that's fine. So anyway, that is what the first option looks like, and then the second would be something like this. So let's put it back in position. Okay, so the second option here is that you are going to be here. Heron, move you opposite me. Robbie is going to be trying to contest you. Reno will be here, right? And then you'll be somewhere, or I say, sorry, Yasmin will be somewhere over here. It's Becky. So this is the second option, a little bit more common. It's not as often you'll see people ISO. Heron happens to be pretty good at ISO, at least versus Reno, because he usually runs Big Heart. He has finger roll. And he also can make Reno jump a lot, like pretty easily. I think this is Heron favored, so you might actually see it more often if you have a matchup like this. But regardless, it's more common that you see the bigs play like this, where the enemy, like the person on defense, will shadow where the big on offense is. So this is a really common setup. And of course, don't worry about the actual positioning. He would be closer to the three-point line. This is just for demonstration purposes. So that is what you'd be doing on both sides of the matchup. Now let's swap it around and have that. Oh, actually, I had these on the right side, so let's just stay consistent. Up there. Okay. So now with Reno and with most dunkers, they're not. It's not really like a lot of different positions you have to know. There are only a couple of things that's really going to happen. So let's just say your Reno, your angles are going to be like in this area. Well, actually, let me. Oh, whoops, that was not meant to hit. A bit more concise would be like here. Or you can be here or the middle. So if you're going to go from one of these angles, then I will show you where you'd stand approximately. Or you can go to one of the flanks because he has a really long range dunk that he can do. So I will show you where you would go on each of those. And these are rough again. So let's say you're going for one of the angles. It would look like this. Robbie would be screening for that angle, and they would be hovering around here trying to get dives in case the dunk was missed or blocked. So this is roughly where you'd be trying to stand if your Reno's big, you'd be trying to box the Lan out so he has a clear lane to get to the rim. Lan is trying to avoid being screened, so this is just a battle between the two bigs to see who can screen the other and who can have the better position. Okay, so now let's change it. He's here. So this is really common as well. Reno's going to be trying to get his little shoulder thing off so he can push into them and then throw the Ox down. Heron's going to be trying to force him into a restrictive state or just interrupt him from doing that shoulder bump. So he'll be on top of him usually. The only other thing that could happen, well, this doesn't even matter. This has nothing to do with the big, so let's just leave it like this. I'm not going to get too into it. But basically, this is a really common position, and Robbie will just be trying to clear the lane. So let's say he moves over, Robbie will move over this way, Lan will be trying to move as well. Same thing if he approaches from here. He's going to be like this, etc., right? He's going to be shadowing, and he wants to clear the lane for the Reno. So you can see it's kind of like in a line, and that's how it's going to be because this dunk is in a line. So this is what it looks like on both sides of the matchup. Hopefully it makes sense. Hopefully this is entry-level stuff, but this is all stuff that I had, I didn't know when I was first starting. I didn't know how these matches were supposed to go, so it's helpful for me at least. So yeah. Wow, so you've made it far enough that you're now watching a VOD. This is gonna be pretty chill. I'm just gonna comment on if I see anything that's worth pointing out, but I think it's valuable to watch, relevant VODs to what you're trying to learn. This is a pretty high elo lobby, so yeah, let's watch it. I do remember I forgot to turn off the little pause and fast forward. It's okay. You don't mind. I can tell you're fine with that. But let's just watch how they play this. So you have this guy, he's a point guard main. His name is Sans, he's playing Reno. Becky and Robbie versus Lan, Rena, and Marcus. So it's a dunking versus chucking team. I say chucking, but I guess some people would take that the wrong way. Shooting team, I should say. You can see, it's almost always going to be... Okay, he took a shot there, he didn't mean to. You're going to see the same things like we talked about. You're going to see the Robbie trying to screen for... sorry. The Reno dunk. Lan trying to circumvent it. Whoa, big word for me. Let's calm it down. See the same thing. It's Lan and Marcus versus Robbie and Reno. But you see exactly their positions, right? You see Robbie's standing exactly where we talked about, like in a line from where Reno is, and Lan is trying to get around that. Gonna get around Robbie's huge mechanical behind. A good rule of thumb is, if you're playing a shooter who has big heart, and the enemy team is not actually trying to swipe the ball and steal from you, holding it is really good. You don't have to feel bad about holding the ball too much. If you have big heart, it's going to be good that you hold the ball, so don't worry about that. You're not being selfish, it's a smart play. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like fadeaways in this game are kind of cringe. I don't know what it is, I'm sure they're not actually overpowered or anything, but every time I see a fadeaway, I'm like, oh, this shit's it's a little cringe. Sorry, I'm getting over my sickness. I'm not coughing as much as you can tell. I'm still not fully out of the weeds, so. You know what I've heard in this game? I don't know for sure it's true, but I've heard some people say some greens, green shots are actually fake greens, and there actually was disturbance. It just didn't display for some reason, like a visual bug. So sometimes you'll see green shots brick, even though somebody has 220 3 points, right? I guess technically it could have just happened, but sometimes it seems pretty obvious. There's actually a visual glitch, and somebody actually was in disturbance radius. That Marcus 3, you kind of look like that, in my opinion. It's also interesting too, seeing people, because with shooting, you have two main... This is completely irrelevant to the gameplay, I should not be even talking about this, but with shooting, people usually take either precision 3 and disturbance 3, or open shot 3 and disturbance 3. And if you have open shot 3, sometimes you can make some really deep shots, super far out from the perimeter. Sometimes if you see somebody hit a really deep shot, they probably have open shot 3. So I think the real problem with this game, why the dunking team's having a hard time, I think honestly at offense they're doing fine. I think the offense is totally fine. I think it's just that they're struggling on defense. I remember I was watching this game and I couldn't really, like, when I first watched it, I was like, I don't really know why it's going so poorly. And I couldn't really figure it out. And then I watched it and I was like, okay, I think it actually has to do more with the dunking team's defense. They're just not able to shut down the Marcus. But this game's a really good example of where both bigs want to be playing. It's almost always in a line. That was a good screen. Like, perfect screen. And, you know, they're playing against... The LAN is, like, the #1 center in the game, so, you know, screening them is not easy. And playing Dunker versus them is also not easy, so... Respect to Sans team. Maybe next time I do a video like this, like, I'll actually, like, you know, draw circles and stuff during the game and break it down more, but I feel like it's probably better that I do what I just did today, like, do like a little diagram and do like all of the illustration on there, and then this could just be like a light watch at the end, just to kind of like see something. I don't know, I thought it'd be nice to have both, and I think, yeah, I think I probably will stick to just like explaining in that initial like diagram type thing. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, hope you learned something, and have a nice rest of your day.